welcome to Latino Talk. We're here at Houston Media Source on the East End, and this is Rob Arteaga here with
Javier Perez.
And we're on another episode of Latino Talk. Today we have a special topic about an event that's going to happen at Talento Bilingüe this Saturday on child abuse awareness. And we have some special guests to talk about that. But first, we're going to get to some current events.
Let's get it. Let's get it on.
I just read about an incredible story of a teen that actually made it in the wheel well of a plane from California all the way to Hawaii. Did you hear about that?
I heard about that, yeah.
I'd heard about teens running away, but that guy wasn't playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said, and they're amazed that this guy actually lived through it, because it said it gets to like 81 below zero. And no oxygen. And he said he went into, I guess, a hibernative state like a bear.
Yeah.
And that's how he was able to survive,
And that most folks that who actually go through that will not make it.
Right.
There was somebody that passed away in England in 2012 that had gone through the same thing. I just thought that just blew my mind. Had you guys ever heard about that story?
Mm-hmm. The one in England.
Yeah.
Now, the one in England, the guy actually fell out of the wheel well when it opened up or something like that, I think.
That's what they say happens.
It opened up and he went out.
That's right.
They said this kid was like running around. When he got to the airport over there, they found him because he was just running. I don't know how true it is, but that he was just running around.
Yeah, they said they have film of him jumping the fence. I mean, so where's the security at? Oh, my
That's what
God.
I'm thinking.
If I try to get there with an extra half ounce of shampoo, they're slamming me up against a wall. Oh, my God.
And they don't play those security officials at the airport, but apparently you can jump the fence and get away with it.
Holy smokes. I tell you.
Well, on another topic, we have the double canonization happening in the Vatican, an event that Pope Francis is breaking protocol, as he's been known to do, where he's going to be canonizing Pope John Paul II and John the 23rd.
Yeah.
So I've heard that there was some exceptions that were made to be able to get these canonizations through.
Hey, man, when you're the Pope, man.
You make things happen.
It's good to be the Pope. Exactly.
Apparently, there has to be a certain period of time that goes by before they can even look at you, which was waived for John Paul II. And for John the 23rd, he didn't perform 2 miracles, which is usually what they need to be able to get canonized. But they waived that for that Pope. Yeah,
I remember, of course, John the 23rd. Really, he was the architect behind the modern church, when he changed everything with the was it the Vatican? I can't remember what it was. The Vatican meetings or whatever they had, and it changed it to the English Mass or to whatever, away from Latin. So of course I was expecting for John Paul II, but I didn't know that they were actually looking at John the 23rd also, which was, I mean, he was a
they say he was one of the popes that was a very liberalist.
Yeah.
And that when
do you ever remember the Latin masses?
I don't. I know that that's the way they were held.
I used to, when I was a kid, I was an altar boy. I was like 5 years old, and I would go, I would tag along with my brother John, who was an altar boy. But I remember he would have to repeat everything in Latin, and we were facing the altar, and people were just sitting there, and all of a sudden one day that all changed, and it was amazing. It was a fantastic changes that Pope John made at that time.
So I'm wondering if we...
I think Vatican II is what it's called. I'm sorry, it was Vatican II Council.
If we speak now Spanglish, would it be Latinglish?
Yeah, could be, brother.
Well, what they were saying was that Pope Francis was trying to pass these both gentlemen because John Paul II was a very right-wing pope, and so part of the message is that we accept everybody, and that's what he wants to get across.
And from what I understand, it's it's the first time in over 700 years that a pope is actually being canonized, that have been considered canonized for sainthood.
Oh, is that right?
So this is very, very rare.
Very significant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. So, do we have any other topics on current events, or shall we get straight into our topic of the day?
Topic of the day. Let's do that.
Well, we have the Child Abuse Awareness Month is April, and we're having an event at Talento Bilingüe on 333 Jensen Drive, and we're going to be having it this Saturday. And more about this event, we'll hear from our guests, starting with Danita. And
Introduce yourself, Danita Gallegos. Come on, Danita.
I'm Danita Gallegos. I'm a social worker, and I've worked with kids in the medical realm, the psychiatric realm, and now in the school system. And so I'm currently the chairwoman of the Leadership Institute Alumni Association, and so that's kind of how this got started and then trickled over. So
great.
I'm Lisa Perez. I am the Community Outreach Director for DCFH, which is Dallas Cowboy Fans Houston. I organize
that just
a lot
does not
of.
sound right. Dallas Cowboy Fans
Oxymoron.
Houston.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
or two.
Right. But you wouldn't believe how many Cowboy fans there are here in Houston. We have about 5,000 members, so we do a lot of community outreach also. So that's what I do. I coordinate all of our community outreach.
Yeah, we saw the kind of community outreach they had when the last time they played the Oilers, and I screwed everything up. Now we can't tailgate over there anymore. Can't just walk up because the Dallas Cowboy fans just screwed it all up. You know, I'm sorry. I just had to get that off my chest. I'm sorry.
Somebody's bitter.
I'm bitter.
Just a bit.
I'm a bitter.
Don't Houston fans typically say that Cowboy fans hold on to things or
No.
bring up the past?
Good.
Yes.
Well, that was only last year. You guys still talking about your last Super Bowl, which was 20 years ago.
It's going on 20 years.
But at least they're talking. At least they're talking about a Super Bowl.
Sure.
We're just dreaming.
Yeah, and I'm Isidro Garcia. I'm the founder of DCFH. I think what's been real special about the experience with DCFH is that when you find a passion that someone has, you can really use that passion to make a difference. And I've had the good fortune of meeting really great people that can help deliver that. So like in Lisa's case, we first worked together on a toy drive. And then from there, it just sprung on to becoming the whole dream team that does everything in the community for us. We also had the good fortune of meeting Danita, the same way too. And I think in the first year that we were in operation, we were able to get about $8,000 out to families that were going through childhood cancer. So anything that relates to children and anything that relates to the community, especially over here, because we do have quite a few people that live around here that are members as well. We're all over it, And when she said that she had the childhood cancer awareness event, you knew right away that we would be there. So it's been a wonderful experience to be able to help out.
And Jose, tell us about your involvement with the organization.
Well, my name is Jose Vega. I'm president and founder of Proud to be Tejano. It's an organization that's heading towards becoming a nonprofit, a 501c3. And I think that social media plays a big role with all this. Before we used to do, Proud to be Tejano came out of the Go Tejano fan club, which is a big promotional group here in the city of Houston, promoting Tejano events, Chicano events, like Festival Chicano, the Go Tejano fan club events at Jones Plaza, Party in the Plaza. We turned it around and made it into a community, kind of like a community, using our promotional power to get the word out about community events such as what Danita's doing. And I think that being able to use what we know how to do as far as street promotions and passing out the flyers, hanging up posters, I said, you know what, let's turn this around and do it for community. And so when I saw what she was doing, what Danita was doing, I said, you know what, this is something that we need to get involved in. As much energy as we put into these Tejano events that we hold, we need to put into something like this. Because child abuse, in many ways that it comes, the word needs to get out there, the awareness does. So we're using our promotional power to do that. So that's how we got involved with this, and I'm glad that we did.
Great. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Of course.
Danita, I've got to say that since you've taken over that position with the LI, you've done a really awesome job of getting out these events and the information. So I just got to say thank you for doing such an awesome job for our community.
Thank you.
And why don't you tell us a little bit more about what's going to happen on Saturday?
So the event, let me back up. So our organization, it's an outreach organization. It's an alumni association. So the goal is to get all of the alumni that have gone through the Leadership Institute to come back and be involved in the community. So one of the projects was we were going to do family events, things like that. And so we came across Childhood Awareness Month. It's something that's very dear to me because I have worked with abused children. And it started out kind of small. It was just going to be an outreach thing for the alumni to come out. And then I thought about it, and I remembered how many members these two have over here. So it was natural. I also paired up with my sorority, Chi Epsilon Sigma, and a fraternity, Sigma Lambda Beta, who are also big powerhouses in Houston. But as soon as I gave Lisa and Isidro a call or a message on Facebook, they were in it. They've always been huge supporters. I'm also very big into childhood cancer awareness, and they're always there. And then Jose gave me a call out of the blue probably 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
And said that they wanted to be a part of it. And so it's really blown up. It's a free event. We have one of our alumni, CJ Alves. She's been huge in gaining sponsors. And so we're going to have free hot dogs, free snow cones, free popcorn, free coloring activities, lots of free stuff. It's for children and adults. And we're also having an obstacle course. It's part of our twist because, of course, to get people out, you have to have something unique and fun. And so the obstacle course is going to be around the parking lot. And a lot of people have said, oh, obstacle course, I don't know if I can do that, or I have a hurt knee or something. But in going with the theme, we're doing childhood games. So it'll be games from your childhood, things like hula hoop or hopscotch, and you have to run to the next station and figure out a childhood abuse prevention trivia question. And so we're incorporating the educational piece with fun. So we're also going to have, and you're one of our speakers
Thank you for
as a
having me.
therapist, and we're really excited. Jose is also one of our speakers because he's out in the community. He works with kids. He works with teenagers, and the teenagers are the population that are really hard to get to because when you've been abused as a young child, you're trained to be quiet. You're trained not to say anything, and you're trained to internalize things. And so when you have an organization out there like Proud to be Tejano that's working with the youth, it's important to share that information on how you're able to help these children. You don't have to be their therapist, you don't have to be their counselor, you just have to be somebody that they can call. And so he's going to give us some insight on his experiences, and then we have a forensic psychologist, Illy Rivera. She's going to come out and talk. She works with juvenile criminals, and so she's going to talk about the link the link that there is regarding that population. And then our last speaker is from Harris County District Attorney's Office, the Child Abuse Division. Mm-hmm. And so it should be a fun event. It's from 9 to 12. We are starting the obstacle course registration at 8:30. It's really just signing up. There is a minimal fee for the obstacle course, but all the information, it's on Facebook. We have an event. You just look up Child Abuse Awareness Field Day is what we're calling it. Or you can show up the day and sign up for a team. It's really simple. It's really just about getting people out, children and adults included. We have some single friends that say, I don't have a family, but it's important for all adults to come out because as an adult, you have the power to help a child. The children, we're going to just spread information on, if they've ever been abused, what to do, who to contact, who to tell. But the adults really have the power in helping these kids because we're going to educate adults on how to contact the abuse hotline, simple things, where to go, what to say, and it's very simple. It's just kind of getting that education out there.
Sure. And I heard that Javier was the first one signed up for the obstacle course. Is that right?
Yeah, right.
It's not one of those. It's not one of those. What's that show that comes on?
Wipeout.
Yeah, it's not Wipeout.
Yeah, I will
People
be
are
there.
He's going to do the karaoke machine.
Oh, I am? Okay, see, they're just telling me this now.
But, on a more serious note, I used to work for the school system, and one of the hardest things for me was one of those days where everything had gone right, and at the end of the day, I had to make one of those calls. And one of the most surprising parts for me was being in a school was that there was a lot of teachers that were hesitant
Yes.
to make phone calls because they didn't want to be held liable. And I would let them know, I'll walk you through the process, but you've got to be the one to make the call because the child contacted you first. Would you mind talking about some of those barriers to get some of this awareness that we're working on?
Well, a lot of people don't realize it's the law. If
Sure.
you are a professional, if you're a teacher, if you have anything to do with children, you are legally obligated to contact and make a report. And a report is supposed to be made within the first 48 hours.
Correct.
And like you said, it's really the rule is that it's supposed to be the first person that the child outcried to. It is helpful, so if a child reported to you and you made a report and then you told me about it, but there's additional details, what I always suggest is just to kind of go behind and also make a report, because it only helps the child to make, that many reports. There is a clause where it can be anonymous. It's not an open records portion, so if you make a report, nobody will ever know. There is a phone number, and I should have had it prepared, but I kind of memorize it whenever I dial it. But I believe it's 1-800-252-5400. Or you can just Google Texas child abuse and it'll pop up to make a report. So it's really simple. It's really simple. I always suggest calling because they do ask a lot of detailed questions, and you can always say, I don't know that information right now, or I'll get back to you later. It's very helpful to have the information of the perpetrator, the birthday or the age, and the name. If you have an address, it's super helpful, but if you don't worry about it. It's CPS's job to investigate. It's not our job to investigate. And I think one of the biggest barriers is that we feel like we don't have enough information. And we don't want to report because I don't have the evidence or I'm not too sure. And really the law just says if you have a suspicion, then you have to report. It doesn't say if you have hardcore evidence, then you need to report. And I've always been taught if you're in doubt, call. Because at the end of the day, the last question is, if it was your child or somebody that you love, would you want somebody to call?
Sure.
And so that's usually what I go by. If it was my nephew or my nieces, I would not hesitate to call. So.
And I think one of the other assumptions is that it's always going to have a negative consequence when you call CPS. And I've heard specifically from cases from folks that had to get CPS involved in their family, and it ended up being a very positive thing because it was an eye-opening experience for the family.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I did a presentation a few weeks ago, and that was a question that came up. CPS has a lot of programs that will help the family. And so they have parenting classes. They have counseling centers that they can go to. They have different programs. They can help them apply for Medicaid. They can help them apply for food stamps. So if it's a situation where a child is being neglected because they don't have enough food in the household, and it's very extreme for CPS to take a child out of custody.
Right.
And so that's another myth that, all CPS workers just take children. Well, it's a myth that all social workers take children. So I get that all the time as a social worker. But really, the system is there to help the families. And a lot of people don't realize how much help is available.
Sure.
Just by picking up the phone and them contacting them.
I think that's very important because, we, especially among single parents, we think that our tax dollars pay for a lot of the educational extracurricular activities that the schools might have. But, for example, you have a single parent where the child comes up and says, Mom, I need $20 for pictures. Well, they're not even $20 anymore. They're $30 now. Mom, I need, $10 for a locker. Mom, I need, tennis shoes for basketball. And so can you just imagine what that mom might be going through? And it kind of triggers depression, and it, accidentally she might take it out on that child. And so we have to go in depth in these situations and investigate just a little bit closer before we actually, we have to see it as a whole. We can't, just blame the parents sometimes, although the child comes first. The parents sometimes need help too. And so, like she said, it actually, incorporates the family in general, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, and one of the things that helped me out to learn more about this is just talking to the social workers or the CPS workers when they were coming, and I found it very interesting that a lot of Hispanic parents seemed a lot more open to being taught on how it is to discipline a child, because sometimes they don't come with manuals, but you know, we have a lot of these resources now on how it is to parent. I mean, I think that's one of the big advantages, that CPS is there not to take the custody, but I think that's one of the last resources. Am I not right?
Yeah. And there's a bunch of organizations in the community that will help with parenting classes. Escape Family Resource is a good one. But on the other end, there's a lot of ways to be involved. If it's not reporting, if it's not identifying, there's ways to become involved. And another piece of the event is that part of the obstacle course, or the obstacle course does have a minimal fee, but that money is going to an organization that helps foster teenagers or prepare for adult living. And so this organization, it's called the PAL program, and they have a certain section where these are foster children that are aging out of the system and they're graduating from high school, but they do want to go to college and they do want to have a higher education, and so they have their graduation wish list, and so all of our money is going to that program. And I think what's great is people are willing to donate for that. They're willing to hula hoop for a few seconds for that. But also we have great organizations, and I know Isidro said the other day that he took a collection at work and he raised over $200.
Wow.
And so that money will go towards these kids who, since they are in the foster care system, they do have their college paid for. But anybody that's gone to college knows you also have to eat and you also have to, you have other expenses. And so it gets very costly. And if it's something as little as helping buy them a microwave or a comforter or something like that, I think we all agree that it's well worth it, and it's well worth going through that obstacle course. Have you had it?
Well, it might be big to go through the obstacle course. My God.
I'm wondering, for Lisa and Isidro, what makes a sports organization come out and support this event?
For myself, it's like I didn't know where to begin before DCFH. I've always knew I wanted to volunteer. I always wanted to get back, but I didn't know how to start. So when Isidro came to me about the toy drive, that was something that I was like, ooh, this is my chance. Did I know I was going to get in this deep? No. So now I'm in charge of it. So now it's just there's so many members that come to us that are just don't know where to start. So now it's kind of kicked in. So we have our regular volunteers that are always volunteering now. So it's just kind of like giving back to the community is something that they've always wanted to do. So they've joined our dream team, and that's what we do now. So.
Yeah, I think with any organization, manpower, or with any goal, it takes manpower to be able to complete whatever the goal is. And that's where, in our situation with it being sports oriented, though, we have enough members that we have the manpower to do things, whether it's fundraising, whether it's volunteers, or whatever, or just we can do that. I do want to commend Jose and the Proud to Be Tejano movement too, because I think earlier we found out that they were mentoring teenagers, and I'm just going back to my experience. I mean, as I was growing up in Baytown, so I guess Danita would have been one of my social workers, but getting to meet people that could do things differently was very eye-opening. And I think that anytime you can show someone that's at risk that there's a better way, that's going to make a big difference.
Sure. Danita, I'm always interested in the stories of how the organizations help out. Does one come to mind of how these events have made a difference, or these organizations have made a difference?
The first one that popped in my head is the superhero.
Oh, the superhero
happy hour, I think.
Yes.
I get my dates mixed up, but in December, I started a childhood cancer awareness organization called Golden Hearts, and in December, a comedian contacted me and asked if he could be a part of kind of the movement, and so he wanted to host a comedy show. So it was a different twist on it. And all the money that was being raised was going to go to a 2-year-old cancer patient. And he's the cutest 2-year-old you have ever seen. And so we did a pre-sale event. And in that pre-sale event, we had a superhero family happy hour type thing. So it wasn't just alcohol, it was actually, we had moonwalks, we had face painters, we had caricatures, and Lisa came out for that one too, and she was able to help. And with that one show, we pre-sold tickets for that show at the happy hour. I mean, people came and they were dressed up in Superman and Ninja Turtle and Batman, and I think as adults we forget how fun it is to be involved. But with that, we make a huge difference. And so we raised, I want to say it was $2,500 when all was said and done.
Wow.
And that money went to the family also. So, I think the thing that people miss out a lot on is that, like she said, there's people that want to help. They just don't know how. And so if you have, I'm that person that can't stop. I'm always doing something. And I think it's just amazing how people like Jose will just pick up the phone and say, hey, I want to help. And since that day, he has been calling and texting, and he'll message and he'll say, hey, I have this. What else do you need? Hey, I have this. What else do you need? And I think it's so amazing to just come into contact with other Latinos, because we get stereotyped and just kind of just being at home, not really doing anything. And it's so important to see that we are out there. And like you said, it's so important for the youth to see that we're out there. And like your next guest and I, we were talking earlier, and she said it starts at home. And it starts by people that you see are doing something. And so you kind of, you open your eyes when you're young.
Sure.
And for me, it was my grandmother. She had me involved in stuff when I was 4 years old, so I've never known any other way. So I think that's really important. I don't even remember what your question was.
You know what, maybe you could expand a little bit and tell us how your training in the NHPO Leadership Institute helped you with that, and the course you plan on taking at organization since you're the chairman of the organization right now.
For me, it was a little different take. I think a lot of people start by wanting something more, and they want to be involved, but they've never been involved before, and that's amazing. You learn so many skills through that. For me, it was a little different. I was very involved in my sorority. As an alumni, I was on the national board. I was the community service board member. I was actually in graduate school right before that, and I did little things here and there. But what was so empowering with the Leadership Institute was that I was able to meet other people who were out there doing stuff too. So we took courses on diversity, we took courses on public speaking, civic engagement, things like that. And so those were, I think what makes it powerful are the people involved, because you can go to courses anywhere. You can take public speaking from anywhere, and you have to take it in college, and you have to take, things like that. And you learn about diversity because we live in Houston. Like, we know these things, but you come into contact. I met Jose through there. I met Javier and Rob through there. So you come in contact with people who have bigger ideas too. And you start to learn that you're not crazy, and you're not just the only one that's out there that just can't stop. Because there's other people that are out there too, like Cesar Espinosa. He's huge in Houston, actually in the nation, for the Dreamers.
Right.
And he's a big contributor when it comes to childhood cancer awareness. He's contributed the past 2 years, and he's there. He's at the dinner. He's ready to help. I'm sure he'll be there this weekend. And you have such a big base of supporters. And even you, when I asked you to speak, you said yes right away. You gain that network that it becomes a powerhouse, and you have the people that you absolutely know you can depend on, because these are other people who feel like being a part of the community and being a servant leader is important also.
And that's usually the barrier for a lot of folks, that I don't know who else to turn to. I don't know who to talk to. And that's what being a part of one of these organizations is empowering, because you start to link arms with folks that do know
Absolutely.
how to get things done.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what the NHPO Leadership Institute strength is on servant leadership. I mean, they teach a certain style of leadership, you know, it's even after when it's just the beginning, just taking the course. After you're done, I mean, you know, there's a lot of leadership courses in Houston, just like Denny was saying. But how many do you see actually getting together and still sticking with that core group that they learned with or that they've met the organization and actually doing something? That's the big difference between the NHPL Leadership Institute and all the rest of the leadership programs in this city. You know, and it's a fantastic group of people. You know, I see a couple of them here that would that would probably get a lot out of it. You know, and this one here is going to finish. He started. He dropped out, but we're gonna get him back. We're gonna get him back in.
I walked into that classroom and I said, you know, to myself, this is going to be a powerful group of people in the future, and that was my take on it. You know, and they're still my friends. You know, I'm still in contact with them. I'm still, you know, like, you know, we're helping each other here.
Well, Jose's gonna finish.
Yeah. I'm gonna finish.
If we got to drag him in there, kicking him.
We'll finish.
Hey, don't feel too bad. Steve Jobs dropped out of college.
Right.
And I think it's one of those programs where you think, oh, okay, well, you know, I'll do it next time. I do it next time. I remember being contacted by Ben randomly through a Facebook message in like 2009 or 10 when I was in graduate school. I had no clue who he was. I didn't even know how he knew me. Till this day, I have no idea. I think he was just messaging everybody on Facebook back then.
An algorithm.
And I didn't join till 2012. And my sorority sister and her dad actually had joined previous classes, and she kept trying to recruit us, and I was like, no, I don't have time. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And eventually when I joined, I was like, oh my God, why did it take me so long to join? But yeah, I keep kind of pressuring them. I told them before to join, and there's a good amount of people in the community.
Well, just keep it hush hush. They're down DC.
No, that's good. We told Texans. I don't know which one. It was another event coordinator that's helping us. She told one of the Texans fan clubs that DCFH over here, their dream team was coming out, and I was telling them the other day, and I said, hey, and then they thought, well, how come y'all didn't tell us? How come y'all didn't invite us to be co-hosts? And so they got riled up. And they're collecting
it would
their
be
people,
fantastic to get DCFH and the Texans
exactly,
together and show them. It'd be like
Turning the whole.
it'd be like the Arabs and Israelis, you know.
Berlin Wall coming down, and this.
Oh man, it would.
Be on CNN.
and it's for a good cause. I think that's what will bring them out, is because it is for a good cause, and they're always up for it. I mean, they've been there every single time that I've asked them, whether it's one person or 10 people, and I don't know who it is, you know, but Lisa will come out and bring people. And for this event, we have 20 or 25 of their volunteers that are just going to volunteer, and then I'm not sure who else is going to come, but I mean, it's for a good cause.
It'd be great to see, because someone's gonna, if this is a obstacle course, they're gonna be keeping time. So which organization will win? Will it be DCFH or the Texans? Texans? You're called out, baby. You're called out. You better be there. Come on now.
Well, Danita, we're about to go to break, but I'd like you to tell folks one more time about the event, when they can go, where they can get more info.
Okay. Talento Bilingüe Houston is the location. It's right across the street from Our Lady of Guadalupe Church off Navigation and Jensen. It's an open parking lot. We'll all be out there because it is an outdoor event, so you shouldn't miss it.
Yeah, it's 333 South Jensen Drive, right where Jensen hits Navigation Street, right at the bio there. So you can't miss it. Y'all, what time does it start again?
It's starting at 9. It's from 9 to 12. The obstacle course registration, we're going to try to get people registered at 8:30. If you can't make it at 8:30, just kind of get there as close to 9 as possible. We're going to do team by team, so it's not everybody going all at the same time. It's a team going one at a time. So you still have time to get out there. We'll have free food, free music, free fun, free coloring, free everything. So the important part is to come ready to learn, have fun, and just learn how to be aware to help these kids, because there's so many out there that need help. We live in the county that has the most fatalities in Texas. So due to child abuse, and these are deaths. These are actual deaths. So Harris County is a huge contender when it comes to fatalities, and that's not one area that we want to be known for. So
Sure.
You know, I really want to commend Danita with what she's doing with her work. I mean, we could tell she had the true heart of a servant leader when we got her back in 2012. And if you're out there, folks, and you want to know how to help the community, you want to get involved, a good place to start is the NHPO Leadership Institute. And you can get a hold of us. I know probably through our website. Is that right, Pat?
NHPO.us.
Is that good? That's still good? Yeah, NHPO.us, and you get more information. Or you can call us. Shoot, I hate to give my I hate to give my cell phone number. Then the Tea Partiers are going to start calling. 713-628-2454. That's my cell number. You want to give me a call there, I can get you more information. Or email me at TBH Center. Email me at javier@tbhcenter.org, and I'll be happy to email you some information on the NHPO Leadership Institute.
Well, you guys are doing an awesome job, and thank you for coming on the show and telling us about this great event happening Saturday. We're going to go on break, and we'll be right back with Latino Talk. Stay with us. Hi, welcome back to Latino Talk TV. This is Rob Arteaga with Javier Perez, and we want to welcome Laquita the Merchant, who is developed an app for, tell us a bit about your app.
Okay, I am the founder of Fusion Apps, home to national award-winning Iquitas, which is a career management app designed to eliminate the wage gap and leadership gap for women and minorities.
Wow, and we understand you got to take a special trip, is that right?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. As a result of developing the app, we upload data that is readily available thanks to President Obama signing the Open Data Initiatives Act. And we load occupational salary data by geographical location into the app. And we keep it current. And one day I was sitting at my home office and I received this email with this official logo, and I thought, this can't be real, this must be fake. You know? And so I sat there, and then eventually I got a phone call asking about the data that we put into the app, and asking about, you know, how things worked out as a result of winning the United States Department of Labor Equal Pay App competition, which we were really, really proud of. We competed against teams from MIT as well as Carnegie Mellon.
Wow.
And we won the grand prize and the Women Innovation Mobile Award. And so for the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Equal Pay Act of 1963, signed into law by President Kennedy, I was invited to the White House as a result of the efforts for equal pay for women and minorities.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. It was exciting.
What did you were thinking when you get this email? So, yeah, right.
I know. I thought this is a joke. This is a joke, but that logo looks so official. It looks so real.
Yeah.
You know, it took me a while. I kept looking at it and thinking it would be nice. It would be really nice, and it was so. It was great. It was really exciting.
The closest.
And how long ago was this?
This was last year. This was last June.
Okay.
When I went there, they actually provided additional tickets. So my husband, who is also the software engineer of the application, I'm the analyst, the product manager, the QE, everything he is not, right? Yeah. And we also had a ticket for our son to go with us too. So
that's fantastic.
It was fantastic.
So what's the experience like when you get to the White House?
Well, you know, first you can't believe you're there. And when you see it on TV, it just doesn't really give it justice to how big it is once you're there and you're walking the grounds. So when we arrived, we had a chance to walk by the Rose Garden, the movie theater where the First Family watches their movies. And then they had a bureau out that had china of the presidents of the past, and there was actual china out that Abraham Lincoln used.
Wow.
It was flawless. It was incredible.
Oh my gosh.
It was incredible. And we also roamed the halls of the official portraits for the modern day
I would have
presidents.
thrown me a plate. I'd be sticking in my coat. Oh no, I don't have no plate in my coat.
It was really, really exciting. But you know, at first when I found out that I was going there, I thought it was just going to be a White House event. I had no idea I was going to meet the president. And a couple of days later, they gave me a call and said, there's a small possibility the president may be able to make it.
That's how they do it. That's my dad got to meet the president. That's exactly how they did
Yes,
it. He
yes.
might be there. Yeah, he might. Ain't probably.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And
I guess
so,
for security, they always do that. Yeah.
Or
Yes.
so you can get your best suit out.
Yeah.
yes. And so it was exciting. When we were there, I also had the opportunity to meet Senior White House Advisor Valerie Jarrett, who was the inspiration for why I entered the Equal Pay Act competition by the United States Department of Labor, which at the time, the Secretary for the Department of Labor was Hilda Solis. So I got a chance to meet Ms. Valerie Jarrett and inform her that she was my inspiration for being in the competition. I had a lot of knowledge about it. The wage gap impacted my family as far back as we can recall. And so it was something that was near and dear to my heart. It was something that I didn't realize it was an issue for my generation. I don't know what I was thinking. I did not realize it was an issue until a manager pulled me aside to tell me that there was a significant wage gap for me and my male counterparts, and we were doing the exact same job. We were working the same hours, traveling the same, and the deliverables were the same. And the shocking part of it that stressed me out was the fact that he maxed out my increase and it still wouldn't eliminate the gap. He had to max me out year over year in order to end the gap. So even 2 years.
Oh my goodness.
Even 2 years didn't do it, and I did not think it was an issue for my generation because I did everything that you're supposed to do. I negotiated pay. I thought I aggressively negotiated pay. I always had a strategy when looking for jobs, making sure that I was interviewing with multiple companies, making sure I was researching how much you should make by occupation, and I still succumbed to the wage gap.
So I'm wondering, what's your background and how are you able to develop this happen, or how did you and your husband work on this?
Okay, well, I have 18 years of information technology experience. I've worked as a systems analyst, designing software, gathering end user requirements, business user requirements, and translating them into technical requirements for software engineers, and queuing it to ensure the deliverables meets the requirements of the business user. I've worked as an IT project manager, a pre-sales consultant, which now they call a sales engineer, as well as a consulting manager. I have a bachelor's of business administration in computer information systems from the University of Houston downtown, and I have a master of business administration from the University of Houston Victoria.
Wow.
You're also an educator. That's the mascot at U of H downtown. I graduated. They call him the educator.
Educators, that's
I
right.
love both my universities. They're great universities. They were fantastic for me. Fantastic for me. In fact, a lot of the best practices that I learned for negotiating for pay and being comfortable negotiating for pay, I learned from professors at the University of Houston.
And that's amazing how you thought you did everything right.
Yes.
You thought you did everything right, and still, there was still that gap.
Yes.
Holy smokes.
Huge gap.
That is just amazing.
So where can folks find the app? What can they do with the app? Tell us about that.
Well, currently the app is available for download for free on the iTunes store. It supports, the iPhone. You can use it on your iPad as well as your iPod Touch. We're going to support the Android soon, but we also have a suite of products, and so you can use Ikitas, a career management app, to research occupational salary data by geographical location, as well as to create a resume or upload a resume. But if you decide that you want to create it, you can use voice dictation so you don't have to type it out, using the app itself. And you can also set career goals, track your progress against those goals, as well as view jobs and apply for jobs within the app. And then you have a historical record. And we believe that's very valuable because typically if you apply for a job, you never know where you're going to be when you get the call back. But as long as you have your cell phone with you, you can always view your history of jobs of which you've applied. So if a recruiter calls you, you're knowledgeable and you know exactly who you applied for and what position. Then we also have, for those who have Android or Windows, we have Ikita's Candidate Finder. So if you email us your resume at info@fusionapps.com, and that's Fusion with a Z, then we upload it into Candidate Finder, and then we upload jobs and we find matches and try to set up interviews to help with that job management process. But our angle is a little bit different. I mean, we're going in and we're representing the candidates that are in our app, and our primary goal is to ensure they don't succumb to the wage gap initially, as well as ensuring when they go through the interview process and if they're offered a job, ensuring if they have a goal of leadership positions, that they will be considered viable candidates for it. They'll have training plans for it. They'll have options for it. We want that to be known going in for our candidates.
I mean, this sounds like amazing work that you guys are doing, and work that's of big value, I think, for a lot of folks looking for jobs. Do you guys gain anything out of it? I mean, you guys are putting a lot into it.
Well, there are some additional things that we gain out of it. For me, initially, is personal satisfaction. Right now, it is expected that by the year 2056 is when the wage gap will have ended. So that means everyone sitting at home right now, you can look at your sisters and your daughters. Even if you have a 3-year-old child, the wage gap is already applicable for them. And for me, I say I don't think that's good enough. For me, I think that each generation has to rise to challenges, significant challenges that it faces.
That's practically 3 generations away.
Yes, yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
3 generations away, they'll think, oh, my goodness.
And I don't want to pass that on to another generation. So I want there to be an awareness. For example, my brother is a manager at a manufacturing company. I knew the answer when I talked to him about the wage gap in women in leadership positions, but I had to talk to him just to make sure that when he was offering jobs to women and minorities, that he was starting out with the same offer. He wasn't starting them off with a lower starting point in regards to the salary negotiations. And when he is looking to grant promotions, that he's given women equal opportunities based upon their ability.
Isn't that exactly the same thing that happened with the new CEO at GM? When they came, I mean, they had $1 million package for the old, the silver parachute, whatever, the golden parachute. And to her, they're paying her pennies on what they paid compared to what he was being paid.
Absolutely. Yes, 3.4% of Fortune 500 companies are led by women, and maybe about...
It seems like they get women and, okay, this is where we're going to change the system now, So we're going to lower the price of CEO, but it all, they end up, hammering the women. That's crazy.
Absolutely. And right now, 2/3 of households, the woman is the breadwinner or co-breadwinner. 2/3 of households.
Yeah.
So I think that in the past, maybe back in the 40s or 50s, a woman's income was viewed as spare change, extra money. But now it is a major part of the plan,
Yes, absolutely.
if not the plan.
I know that a lot of times developers get direct feedback from the users.
Yes.
What kind of feedback are you hearing from this great app that you've got?
We've gotten positive feedback. In fact, we had a beta program that the University of Houston downtown was involved, Houston Community College, as well as Alabama A&M University. And the one feature that everyone loved, it was a consensus, was the occupational salary data by geographical location, because it's the most factual information that's out there. There are, as companies list their positions, they put the range, but sometimes that range may or may not match with what they're actually paying. So within our app, it's the most credible data because it is coming from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. So it is factual data on what companies are paying by your location for those jobs. And we're telling people how to use the app is to go by the median. Because if you are in early career or mid-career, you should be at that median. The problem with the wage gap is women and minorities are falling in that 10th percentile and 25th percentile. So even coming out of college, when you're using the app, you should be aiming for the median 25th percentile. We also have best practices in the app itself, especially on how to handle negotiations. Because if you want the median, let's just say the median is $50,000, you can't ask for $50,000. And it's basically educating the users on the art of negotiating. So for example, when an organization gives you an offer, that's typically their starting point where they want to start negotiating. And if you want to have the median, you should go, frankly, 15 to at least 20% higher than where you want to be. And then usually the two of you will meet halfway. Now, there are some companies just will not negotiate, and that does happen. But they do expect you to. Everyone does expect you to. And there's an art to it. So what you should do is you accept the position, and then you counter for the pay. You can counter for stock options. You can counter for signing bonuses. You can even counter for vacation days.
That's really, really interesting.
Now they tell me.
So what's, I know besides Android being added to the repertoire, what's the future look like for the app?
Well, the future for the app, we believe, is going to be the app that everyone uses to manage their career. Currently, the way that it works is you may or may not work for an organization that has a talent management tool. Well, the problem is if you leave that organization, your career plan stays with them, the soft copy, and all you're left with are physical paper copies. And so you stack them in a drawer and you put them away. And if you go to another company, they may or may not have a solution that you can use, but they definitely aren't loading information from your past employer. So we're saying if we're going to eliminate the wage gap, we're always going to ensure that our users have that information with them everywhere they go, and that they also have career management best practices with them. The videos, we kind of went with the Angry Birds methodology of having best practices snippets for 5 to 7 minutes. That way, if you're waiting for your child's Little League game to start, or if you're waiting at the doctor's office, you have a chance to go through an actual Q&A and complete a thought without necessarily having to dedicate 30 minutes to an hour at a time. And then also we believe it will be the app that people use to manage their career over time. So they're allowed to set their career goals. If there is a certain job they want to work toward, they can compare. Where we're definitely heading next immediately is once they have the resume uploaded and there's an occupation that's a goal they would like to have, we're going to give them a gap analysis. And then where there's a weakness, they can add that to their career goals and track their progress against those goals, helping them to continually develop their skills. And as they update their resume within the app, they're going to receive an update on the jobs of which they're viable candidates. And we're hoping that will push people along to realize they are qualified for leadership positions, to actively apply for those leadership positions as well.
Wow, that's incredible work, isn't it?
Absolutely, man. It's mind-blowing.
Thank you.
I'm wondering, is there a particular job field that the app is better suited for than others?
Not right now, no, because we list all the occupations that are listed on the United States Department of Labor site. In regards to training plans that we're going to have, and we're deciding to go with training plans, we're doing a different route that everyone else is doing. We want people to be empowered with all the information that's already out there. There are so many free classes you can take in STEM positions or for math and science. So we're going to provide what's out there for free for people to be able to utilize those. I mean, it's just a lot of great information out there for online courses.
Let me ask you, how long did it take you to develop this app?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I'll tell you, for the competition, here's the deal. For the competition, I thought that my all-nighters were over, but when we learned about the competition, it had already started a week. And so to go from concept to install, it was 7 weeks. So we had to stay up all night. We were pulling all-nighters on the weekends, like drinking pots and pots of coffee. We were working till we would crash. And we did that for 7 weeks to get it on the App Store.
Wow.
That is incredible.
And then here's the funny part. So we're so busy in the details, finding data, designing it, testing it, that we looked up and we realized at the time it takes Apple, 2 to 4 weeks to release an app on the store. We'll miss the deadline. So I had to go through the escalation process and call them to say, well, I know you have millions of customers, but I kind of need you to get my app out on the store in like a week.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
And there was a gentleman by the name of Peter who complied. He responded to my email. He said, okay, I'll see what I can do. And he got it out there with 2 days to spare.
Wow, that's incredible. Well,
That's amazing.
Before we go, I want you to spell out that name of that app, because I know that can be an issue when trying to look for apps. So I want you to look at the camera and tell folks exactly how to get your app.
Okay, to download our app, you can go to the iTunes store and download Equitas. That's AEQUITAS. And you can also go to our website at www.fusionapps.com. That's FUZ as in zebra, IONAPPS.com.
And that's an Obama-approved app. That is incredible work you guys are doing. I can't believe you guys are doing that for free, and what a great service it is for folks.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Again, our goal is to eliminate the wage gap yesterday, not in 2056.
So what's on the horizon for you and your husband? I mean, that has been one heck of a boost. You're like the upper echelon now, huh?
Well, yes, it's really exciting. I mean, recently Equal Pay Day was just a couple of weeks ago, and the Shriver Report participated in a Twitter chat with us, as well as produced an article that I wrote on equal pay, and there being an app for that to generate awareness and to educate the public about it. So I'll continue to write more articles and give interviews, such as being here with Vice News, continue working with the Shriver Report moving forward. And we're actively pursuing VC funding. And so we have a lot of contacts that we've made thus far, because we definitely want to continue to expand the brand.
So I'm sure you're on Twitter then, right?
Yes, yes.
Give everybody your Twitter handle.
Yes, our Twitter handle is, it is Fusion Apps. So you can go to & Fusion Apps, FUZIONAPPS.
Great. And we're about to sign off, but my name is Rob Arteaga, and this has been Latino Talk TV. Remember, the child abuse awareness event will be happening this Saturday at 9 a.m. at Talento Bilingüe. I'm a counselor, and for more information on educational resources for free about psychology-related topics, you can go to 3sessions.com, or you can go to my Spanish site, 3sesiones.com, where you'll find my Spanish podcast, El Show de Psicología, which is about psychology and how you can apply it to everyday life. This has been Latino Talk from the Houston Media Source at the East End of Houston. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back next week at 6 p.m.